what's the one hormone that goes down as we age that is most linked to resiliency, that is actually being able to adapt to situations? I used to have this really beautiful pop-up book about menopause in my waiting room. Unfortunately, someone stole it, but it had a lot of memorable memes in it. And the meme that I remember the most was one that said, one of the symptoms of menopause was everyone's head looks like an invitation to batting practice. Anybody relate to that one? It turns out that this particular irritability symptom has very little to do with estrogen, progesterone, or testosterone, the hormones that people classically think of as going down in menopause, but has to do instead with this mystery hormone. What is the hormone I was talking about a couple of days ago that it's most linked to resilience? That hormone is DHEA, and it is one of the most plentiful hormones in our body when we're younger. Actually, at 20 to 30, it peaks, and really in our mid-30s is when it starts to go down. And that's when a lot of women present to their physicians talking about the symptoms of menopause, things like irritability, possibly even hot flashes, increases in belly fat. And at that point, their estrogen is actually usually pretty okay. It's their DHEA that's taking a hit. What's the important part about DHEA? DHEA helps to regulate the spiking of cortisol, which is our stress hormone, our fight or flight hormone that's made under stress. And one of the roles that DHEA has, it is actually protects our brain against the bad effects of cortisol as cortisol is produced. Because what cortisol does is it increases your blood sugar, it shoves blood to your muscles so that you can run away from the predator, because it was really a hormone that was made when we were on the Sahara running away from predators. Now, we have chronic stressors like our job, our finances, our kids, and our cortisol is up all the time. And that's why we need DHEA the most at this time, actually, because DHEA helps to shut off cortisol and to protect our brain against those bad effects of high blood sugar, for instance, that can happen. And it can also protect our belly against the bad effects of cortisol. And so as our DHEA drops is actually when we get some of those symptoms of being more irritable as our cortisol spikes under stress, having more belly fat as our cortisol spikes under stress. Now, is it a good idea to take DHEA itself? The answer is probably no. And there's a reason for that. The reason is that you want your DHEA to be dynamic. So there were some small studies that actually showed some promise in DHEA, for instance, with belly fat. But they were small and it wasn't really looked at. When it was looked at on a larger scale, it didn't seem to really make that big a difference. The reason is that DHEA needs to be dynamic so that when your cortisol goes up, your DHEA goes up. If you give someone a flat amount of DHEA, then it's not going to be able to be dynamic and shut off cortisol in response to cortisol levels. There are some things, though, that you can do to naturally improve your DHEA. One of those is mind-body wellness techniques. My favorite of those techniques is tapping. So if you want to learn more about tapping, comment tapping below and we will send you a link to a tapping video. If you are unable to comment, you can actually look in our link tree and see the link to our tapping video. The other thing that you can do is take a particular supplement that helps DHEA levels. That supplement is called Phosphatidylserine. What is phosphatidylserine? It's actually an essential fatty acid, a fatty acid that helps to coat our membranes, both in our cells and our mitochondria, the little energy packets in the cell. Phosphatidylserine has been shown to improve DHEA levels. So as we age, as we go through menopause and andropause and have a fall in our DHEA levels, minding our lifestyle and perhaps taking a supplement might be helpful in preserving this essential hormone. This has been Dr. Emmy.